Hey folks, Martin Popoff here. Welcome back to Overkill Reviews, and Happy New Year. Hope you have some New Year's resolutions. I definitely do. I'm 55 on April 28th. I'm considering that a little bit of a milestone year, kind of a semi-retirement year. Want to think about doing a lot more art and illustration and things like that, but have no fear, I'm still cranking out the books. I've got a Alice Cooper book I'm working on, a Van Halen book, and a Queen book. So we're going to be busy for a while to come still. Before we get into my first review of 2018, I want to remind you to subscribe so you don't miss out on new music like this.
This room of nightmares, so much to see. This room of nightmares will set you free. Set you free. Close your eyes and you will see.
All right, there you go. Typical goofball Zakk Wylde video. That, of course, is from the new Black Label Society album, Grimmest Hits, out on E1, January 19th. Yeah, not sure if you know, but Zakk's been in the news lately. Unfortunately, severe illness is what they're saying, and he's missed 4 shows, so we do wish Zakk a speedy recovery. But yeah, here's a little bit on the band, Black Label Society, before we do the review. Zakk came to be known to us, young kid out of New Jersey. He first came on the scene with Ozzy's album No Rest for the Wicked, 1988, and then of course he was on the 2 monster albums, No More Tears and Osmosis. He became Ozzy's sidekick because of his long blonde hair, and then he started lifting weights, and he got into like the skulls and the chains and the sort of biker image. So he became almost like a brand. So as we move into Black Label Society, they just became this fun, kick-ass band that everybody loved because of the look, because of everything about it. And that's, bode him well as he's gone through these 10 albums, the latest of which is this one we're going to review now, Grimmest Hits. Coincidentally, the first song on the album, Trampled Down Below, is kind of a microcosm for the album. It's got that grinding Black Sabbath groove to it, Alice in Chains. What you notice right away with this record, and you notice this on this track, is that we have a very organic and fat bass sound. It doesn't have that percussive, almost Pantera-esque feel as some of the earlier albums. So you've got, the hi-hat's a little open, there's a lot of cymbals, the drum sound is very organic, and you can hear all of that on Trampled Down Below, which is, like I say, quite indicative of, I would say, a good 6 or 7 songs on the record. Okay, so here's some stuff I really like about this record. This is the first album for Black Label Society in 4 years. That's a pretty long time now as these things go, but it is actually fairly similar to their last album, Catacombs of the Black Vatican. I don't want to use the term nu metal. Maybe I shouldn't even be using the term grunge, but there is sort of a grinding, circular, mid-pace feel to a lot of the songs on this record. Another thing I like about this record is it's very nicely paced in that there are 3 ballads on it out of the 12 songs. They're a little bluesy, they got full band. Let's listen to one of them now. This is The Only Words.
So you say you've got your plans, but life's got its plans too. Changes that come and go, come tomorrow, one never knows. Oh, mountains may fall.
So there you go. I mean, I think Zakk does a really good job of these songs. We all know he's got the music for Hangover stuff. He's got the Book of Shadows stuff. He's even gone on tour and done acoustic stuff. I mean, I thought it was just hilarious. I saw him at the Danforth Music Hall, and it's basically him sitting on a stool with acoustic guitar, packed house. On The Only Words, you can really hear, the dimension and richness of his voice. He's definitely got as I was saying, a Lane Staley, a Jerry Cantrell, but also a Greg Allman style voice, a Stevie Van Zandt voice. He loves that sort of Southern rock vibe, and it's just a really interesting, unique thing to put on a heavy metal album. Most of the time you put a mellow song on a heavy metal album, especially something that's as committed to traditional metal, but definitely pretty doomy metal as this, you'd put some sort of a dirge on it, which is something that was invented back with Black Sabbath or Judas Priest or whatnot. But no, Zakk goes for these kind of cool Southern rock bluesy songs, and I think they're a real nice addition to a record like this. Another song I wanted to highlight, which is a bit unusual, is called Illusions of Peace.
Horizons once chosen mine.
what I find interesting about this song, I picked it because it sort of sits apart from the other ones. It is late in the track sequence. It's kind of got a note-dense riff. It's got one of these stop-start things, you know, which was invented back with Led Zeppelin with Black Dog. Still of the Night by Whitesnake is another big one like this. So you hear Zach being a little bit more stadium rocking on here rather than, you know, dirgy and Alice in Chainsy. Mostly, I do quite like the album and I appreciate it, but I do find it a little bit slow, a little bit turgid, with the production quality using, you know, the big fat organic bass tones and the drums the way they are. I kind of miss the punchiness of the early material like 1919 Eternal, but he did call it Grimmest Hits, so it is a bit grim. It's definitely like that, and it's kind of misleading because, you know, people have been thinking this is a greatest hits album, but it's not. It's a whole bunch of new songs. So I suppose, to reiterate, I just find it all a little bit samey in the tempos and a little bit samey emotionally. I just find it a little bit grim. So yeah, to sum up, I mean, I do quite like the album. What I like the most about it is the sequencing in of these three really cool mellow tracks. You know, they provide a neat respite between all the doom and gloom of the other tracks, which, as I was saying, were a little bit samey. So for that reason, you know, liking the songs, but not loving a lot of the songs. I like that first video. That's kind of a catchy tune. I didn't like it to begin with. I thought it was like right in the middle of the whole thing, but now I'm starting to see the insidious, laconic, laid-back hook of it. You know, these songs I think will grow on me over time. But what I do not like too much about it is it doesn't seem particularly creative or daring. I've been playing a lot of the old albums again leading up to talking about this, and I'm finding a lot more you know, interesting creative decisions made on the older albums. So for that reason, I'm giving it 3 out of 5 skulls here on Overkill Reviews. So yeah, a couple shout outs to some records coming out that we can recommend here on Overkill Reviews. We've got Anvil coming out with Pounding the Pavement, which is out this week. Loudness, Rise to Glory, Japan's most legendary heavy metal band. That is coming out next week. And coming soon, we've got Ty Tabor from King's X, who's got a new solo album called Alien Beings. And Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons, The Age of Absurdity. So yeah, lots of metal coming out. Don't forget to subscribe here on Overkill Reviews. We're going to get to as many of these records as we can, and we shall see you soon.